so we went into last quarter and we knew that our budgets had been reduced. I think a lot of marketers were struggling with that this year. And so the theme of efficient growth came up, and we had to do more with less, so we, thankfully we have all of our data by channel so we can see like what's actually contributing to the bottom line right now.
Hi, welcome to another episode of the Marketing Routines podcast. I'm your host, Jenna Potter, and in this episode, I'll be talking to Chip House, who's the CMO at Untitled, a modern CRM used by thousands of companies across nearly every industry. So Chip is an executive and growth leader with over 25 years of experience leading marketing teams in B2B SaaS companies. Thanks for being on the show. I want to dive right into the first question, which is a general overview of your workflow, and then we can go deeper from there. So from the moment you log on in the morning, what does a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Jenna. So, I typically start out with content. I block it on my calendar every day at 8 a.m. because I want to make sure that I have time to write content. So we have our own podcast called Closing Time. And, so often once a week, I'm posting about an episode that we had done on Closing Time and actually sharing a video. And then the other 5 days, I'm either spending that time, connecting with people or liking and commenting on posts or writing my own content. So, and then after that, I would say I often will log in and check our dashboards, what's our pipeline look like this quarter? Where are we at for opportunities? What's the mix of our marketing, and what does the CAC payback look like on all of our different channels? So those are some of the first things I do.
So you mentioned that you like to do your own personal content. Can you tell me a little bit about why you decided to prioritize this? Have you found it has contributed to a lot of new leads and new revenue when you do your own personal content?
Yeah, I think just the engagement that you're able to get on LinkedIn in your personal post versus your brand posts, right? Just like the algorithm treats it so differently, and it's a way to get our message out and our positioning out and speak to our ICP in a way that is difficult from a brand account. And we've had some success with our CEO engaging and our head of sales, but I like to do my own, I guess, I've just found it to be most effective. And certainly I get invited to do a lot of podcasts from that content, and, other efforts to get our brand out there have driven from that activity.
So what style of content have you found has been working well recently? Because I know on LinkedIn last year it was all about slideshows, but it changes fast. What's been working well for you recently?
Yeah, I haven't done slideshows, but I think, I try to do thought leadership type content. That's where I'm communicating how to do something, or, a challenge that I specifically had in B2B marketing primarily, which is my area of expertise, that we've solved and how we solved it. Also because a lot of our ICP is sales leaders, I do talk about broader go-to-market strategies and sales optimization strategies and things like that, because a lot of the people that buy CRM are part of the broader GTM team, including sales.
Do you ever find it difficult to come up with fresh content ideas if you're posting on a daily basis?
I do, and it's funny because, some of the people that I follow, like Chris Walker from Revenue Vitals, essentially he's don't want to call him a one-trick pony, but he's got like themes, right? And so he certainly has redone a lot of the same things over and over again. And it's almost like you're pressing repeat on some episodes you heard before, but I think that's okay. I think frequency of message is a great way to communicate how important some of these topics are.
Right. So you can kind of talk about the same topics over and over as long as you change the angles and the problem.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, to change the angles a little bit, and, maybe talk about like how it affects different personas, or talk about like a little bit, how you would prioritize your marketing mix because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so before we go on to talk about more of your in-house projects at Insightly, just want to finish off a conversation on your personal content talking about the tech stack that you use. So what tools do you use to create this content on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, because we're a CRM and a marketing automation tool, and we have middleware, and we also have Insightly Service, which is our help desk ticketing software. So we run our business entirely on Insightly, landing pages included. Um, we also do leverage SalesLoft primarily and 6 Sense for intent level data. But our sales team uses both of those for both intent level data and SalesLoft for sales engagement cadences and things like that. And then we also use, I don't remember what 6Sense calls their Zoom Info competitor, but we use that for contact level data.
Nice. And do you have any specific like LinkedIn content creation tools that you use either for analytics or like topic ideation or writing?
Our team for our brand account, we use HootSuite. But me personally, no, I just use Google Sheets.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, so let's talk about now your marketing campaigns from the past quarter. So, what did you prioritize? What was top of mind for you on your team?
So we went into last quarter and we knew that our budgets had been reduced. I think a lot of marketers were struggling with that this year. And so the theme of efficient growth came up, and we had to do more with less, So we, thankfully we have all of our data by channel so we can see like what's actually contributing to the bottom line right now. With limited ad dollars, we decided that we wanted to get more out of what we're doing already. And so we started focusing on website A/B testing. And we worked with a company called Spiralize. So they helped us do this, and they have a lot of experience with SaaS companies in the B2B space. And, over the past several months, starting in October, we started doing A/B tests and had significant growth to our demo conversions and our free trial conversions on the website because of that testing. So we had probably 8 out of 10 successful tests, which is pretty unheard of, I think. One of the exciting things that we had done was add kind of a micro yes, meaning like somebody comes to the website and and lets here's the type of challenge I'm trying to solve by checking a box. It might be lead gen or pipeline gen or pipeline tracking. And then also we asked them to provide us with their industry as part of the process. And that just increases the engagement and decreased the attrition from the forms, which was fascinating. Look at human psychology, right? I mean, people like to be involved in the process when they're providing information. And so as long as you still make it easy and don't make it a very difficult form, it's fine.
So, because of the budget cuts, you kind of focused on refining what you were already doing instead of testing new channels and it potentially not working.
Yeah, basically, how do we get more out of this same traffic? Basically, if we're not able to spend a ton driving a lot more traffic, of course, we are focused on SEO and content, and we probably in Q4 we probably wrote 60 pieces of content, whether that was learning pages or product sub pages or blogs. We did a lot of content optimization, integration pages, because that's how people find CRM is like, hey, does it integrate with my tool? Whether that tool is QuickBooks or ADP or Slack, whatever, I mean, that's how people find pieces of software. So yeah, that was really successful for us, actually.
That's amazing. So it wasn't new content that you were creating, but more updating what you already had to make it better?
No, a lot of it was new content. Yeah. So for example, we didn't have a custom integration page for a lot of the different software that we actually do integrate with. And so we just had them on a long list, but we built out custom pages for each of the tools that we integrate with.
And how have the results been so far for that?
I swear SEO is like alchemy, I mean, And obviously, we're in CRM, and I saw data that there's over 1,700 CRM providers. A lot of them are niche and might be very small, verticalized CRMs, that type of thing. But it's a super competitive space. And if you think about it, like some of the largest companies in the world have CRMs that they're trying to sell, right? And with plenty more budget than I have and larger content teams, so even if you are producing 60 pieces of content, you are treading water slash, growing slowly.
Yeah, that's a really good point. When you're in a competitive industry, you have to produce a lot at such a high quality. So it is a big struggle if you don't have the right processes in place. So that's actually a topic that I would like to dive deeper into. So since you produce so much content, first of all, how big was your team? And were you working with outside agencies or freelancers, or was it just your in-house team working on that?
Primarily our in-house team, and we just have 8 people on my team. It's a really, really small team, but we have some very experienced and talented people on our content team and on our product marketing team and customer marketing team. And so, we're able to kick out a lot of quality content, quality videos, quality creative to support the campaigns that we're doing. But we leveraged Demandwell software to optimize our SEO, and we leverage Do Follow for backlinks. But internal links we do either manually or leverage a tool inside of Demandwell to drive some internal links. And so that was another big focus of ours, is just now that we have deeper content, especially for our product pages, how do we ensure that we're linked to it from all the different sites on all the different pages that talk about CRM on our website?
So you did all of that with just 8 people internally, which is
We
is
did.
pretty amazing. Did you ever? I'm sure with such a small team creating that much output, you came across some challenges at some point. If you did, how did you overcome them?
A lot of it is just moving through the problem by working on it every day. So I would say it was more just challenges in terms of volume. I don't think we had any major setbacks. We had a few website snafus that happened along the way. I don't think any marketer has a WordPress instance that they think is perfect, right? And so we have some funky kind of legacy stuff there that we struggle with our website a little bit. But outside of that, I think it's mostly just doing the work.
And as far as link building, what's the strategy around that? You said you were doing it manually and working with DoFollow. Is that correct?
Yeah, with do follow. We get some inbound, for backlinks and things like that. But for the most part, the domain authority, if somebody's requesting, has not been good. And so that's the one thing I do like about do follow, is they're able to get us very high quality backlinks to some of our key pages, including CRM, and some of our key blogs that talk about our unique value in marketplace as a modern CRM.
Okay, awesome. And what software and tools do you rely on to help with your content SEO strategy?
We leverage sort of an AI assisted option inside of Demandwell, right? Where it's the human and AI basically, and then we take it in and we optimize it ourselves. And we have got a great set of writers, and very rarely do I have to look at a blog post before it goes live. So I mean, it's like I'm all about team empowerment. You get a lot more done that way.
And are you planning on producing at a higher volume in the next quarter, or are you happy where you are now?
I would say this quarter we're going to produce at a similar volume. I think we're going to focus more on quality and some keyword campaigns. We're doing some verticalized campaigns, like healthcare is proven to be a very great vertical for us. We're HIPAA compliant, and a lot of other CRMs are not, especially in our price range. And so we're doing a lot of, I would say, verticalized content that we're focused on this quarter.
That's great. We did something similar with Monday.com, where we did verticalized content, and they grew by over 1,500% in 3 months. So I think it's a really great strategy going forward.
Yeah, that was with verticalized content.
Yeah, it was just going through
Okay.
creating content for all the different industries.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, that makes me feel better. Feels like I'm at the, feels like I'm on the right path.
Yeah, I'll send you a little breakdown of what we did after the call. But yeah, I'm happy to hear
That
that.
would be amazing. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. So my next question is, what's coming up next for you? I know we just started Q2. What's on your priority list for this quarter?
So, I mean, we're going to continue with the website optimization. I would say we kind of picked off the low hanging fruit, and now we're still finalizing some tests and doing some hard coding of the tests at one. We're still sort of like in our testing platform that we have to actually go and do the hard code on. We're going to try to optimize our free trial page. We spend a lot of time on our demo request page, but about a third of our business is self-serve, month to month, people buying our CRM, and they almost always come in through free trials. These tend to be smaller companies primarily. And so we want to optimize that page. We're trying to tell more customer stories. So we started including our customers as part of our YouTube show and podcast called Closing Time, which I had mentioned before. And so we're going to see more of that. We're also testing some more funny brand videos. We just launched one yesterday called the Restless CRM Syndrome, in the style of a drug ad, right? But like everybody's used to seeing on TV, with the fast speaking at disclaimers at the end. I saw interesting data that was first from a study from Oracle about humor in B2B, and 91% of businesses say they want the brands that they do business with to be funny, which I think is super crazy, right? And I think many brands are afraid to do it, and we're not. So we're gonna have more sort of funny, sort of edgy B2B video content that we're doing this quarter. And then we're also trying to leverage the voice of our CEO. I mean, I think he's a great speaker. He's got he's charismatic. He's from Australia, right? And he knows the product better than anybody. And so I don't think we have him on camera enough. So we're going to do more of that this quarter.
Okay, all sounds great. I have a couple follow-up questions there. I guess we'll start with what you last mentioned, which is getting your CEO involved in your marketing. I know a lot of people listening will probably think that's a great idea, but their CEO is either nervous or probably doesn't have the right presence to be forward like that. So, how are you managing that process? What kind of content ideas do you have in mind? And yeah, I'd just love to hear more about that in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kept it pretty close to the core messaging for the company, and for the initial script. And I sent it to him 6 or 8 weeks before we were actually going to record, right? So he could get comfortable with it. And even then, as he started doing the parts of it that felt wooden, I just gave him the license to like put in his own words. And so I think it's possible for pretty much a CEO of any stripe to be comfortable talking to a camera. If you, but I would recommend you have an interviewer ask them the questions, because it comes off more naturally.
That's true. And you don't have to have the interviewer in the shot. You can just cut it off.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And going back to the adding humor to your videos, I love that idea. I want to know more about your video production process, because I know creating humor, like funny videos, probably be on the higher production side, I assume. So, how are you managing that, and what kind of tools are you using, and what's your process there and your team?
The last one that we did, Restless CRM Syndrome, we did in-house primarily with stock photography, and our stock video rather, and we wrote the script, and our head of creative put it together, and he did a great job. And then we leveraged a third-party voiceover that was so professionally done. I was really impressed by it, and then paired it together. But the next one we're going to do, I mentioned I'm in Minneapolis. We're going to leverage a local company, Bullseye Marketing, that does a lot of video, and that can help us put in get the shooting locations and the talent, because we're gonna need some actors for the next go round. So um, I'm blanking on the name of the company that I used last year for a couple of funny videos, but if I think of it, I'll let you know.
Okay, let me know after and I can add it in the show notes.
Okay.
All right. One of my final questions is what are the most important marketing metrics that you consider to decide if a campaign was successful or not? And as a follow up question, when do you know when to pull the plug versus wait to see if results will show up?
Yeah, it's interesting because in this day and age when attribution is not super clear, you have to do a couple of things. So one is we added the "How did you hear about us" to our demo page, which is a critical page for us, and we've learned a ton. Like, one learning in the past month is that about 3.5% of our demo requests come from people that heard about us on Chat GPT, which is fascinating. So we're starting to see AI recommendations kick in. I don't even know how to optimize for that, by the way, but I assume just, it's web SEO presence plus, being there on lists of top CRMs and things like that. So, I think PR and advertising still go a long way, even in the age of AI. But, we're really focused on partnering closely with our sales team to create pipeline and to create sales opportunities. So I don't pay that much attention to higher funnel metrics, but I'm trying to look for optimizing for hand raisers, people who have decided to either try Insightly or ask for a demo because it's now the right time for them, and they are also interested in our unique value prop.
Amazing. Where do you go to for your marketing knowledge and learning, or to if you like certain communities for talking to other marketing leaders like yourself? Where do you go?
So I'm part of the Sixth Sense CMO Club, and that's every week on Fridays, it's always an amazing call and a variety of different topics. And also they have a Slack community that I take part in. I also take part in CMO Huddles, which is another CMO community. I listen to Revenue Vitals by Chris Walker. As I mentioned, I listen to Dave Gerhardt's Exit 5. And I also listen to the Martech podcast from time to time. Also, I follow Sam McKenna, who is a sales leader and evangelist. She's been on our show a number of times and she's phenomenal. Stacked Marketer is another newsletter that I read.
Yeah, there we go. Those are some good spots. I love Exit 5 as well. The community is really helpful.
Yeah, entirely. I love the interviews that Dave does. He has a lot of great guests on. And I'm the guy that, 8 years ago, I was wondering what Dave Gerhardt was doing with all his time, why he was wasting it all on LinkedIn, but clearly he had the last laugh.
So it was amazing having you on. You gave a lot of great insights, and I personally learned a lot, so I really appreciate it. So I just want to close it off with one final question, which is, are there any companies that you're currently admiring from afar, their marketing strategies? And maybe I can get them on the show to get more details on how they're doing it.
Yeah, I love what Udi does from Udi Lagerger from Gong. I think they have, he's a great evangelist, and the content they put out is great. I love when he's involved in podcasts. He was one of our best guests. Also, I really love what they're doing at lavender.ai. They've been very, very engaged and engaging on LinkedIn with a lot of their content. And that's ultimately how we met Jen Allen, who's a strong go-to-market presence as well. And so those are some of the brands that come to mind.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Yeah, Jenna, thanks so much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.